Hi guys, and welcome to part 3 of the build. Now, before I add in all the plants, I wanted to make sure all the hard water stains were off the sides. So I asked on Instagram and everyone suggested adding vinegar and water onto the side and leaving it overnight. I did that, and to be fair, got off most of the hard water stains, but there's certainly some that are just so tough they will not come off at all. So I'm going to have to just deal with that. At the end of the last episode, I was actually adding in carpet moss to the background. So there are a few patches that just weren't getting covered by Eco Earth, and I thought, you know, the carpet moss helps. So what I'm going to do today, before I add in any plants or any drainage layer, I'm actually going to spray down the background. Now, I don't know if people usually do this when they're building the tank, but the last thing I want to do is have all the plants in there looking nice, and I spray the background and everything drops off. Okay guys, so I've moved the tank into my room where it's going to be staying, and now I'm going to put in the first drainage layer, which is a hydro balls. Now I see a lot of people use these in videos, but they tip them straight out of the bag, whereas I'm sure the instructions say you're meant to wash them through, because when I did with Isla's tank, you find there's loads and loads of debris where like the clay hydro balls have been crushed, and you don't really want that in the tank. So that's what I'm going to do now, is wash them all through. So this is 2 bags worth, and I have to say it's quite thin. Most people say you need like an inch or 2 of the drainage layer, but this is all I have. It'll have to do. I think in Isla's tank I used just 1 bag, and it's pretty much the same thing, and the plants are still fine. I've cut down the Lucky Reptile Hydro Fleece, and I'm just going to test how good it is at draining the water. So I'm going to just tip some water on there, see how long. That's literally gone through. Okay, that's good, because I thought I had an alternative, because someone did say this wasn't very good. I thought I had an alternative, and when I put it in, it literally wouldn't let any water go past it. The water just sat on it, so at least that drains through. That is a good sign. So when I'm trying to figure out where I want the plants to go, I just keep them in their pots and just put them in. I've noticed there's actually a massive gap. When I had the previous background in here and I was trying to sort out where everything goes, obviously the background was a lot thicker, so there was a lot less room. Now I realise I have tons of room. Now the good thing is, and I didn't mention this before, but my gecko is actually in a separate tub at the moment, a very big tub that she's been living in for the last week. Now this whole process probably won't take you a week, but make sure there's somewhere where your gecko can stay, because obviously once you put in the foam and you put in the sealant, you want to leave it for a bit, because it's going to be a really strong smell, and that might irritate your gecko's like breathing and everything, so you want to keep them out of the way. So I'm preparing the vanilla orchid to go into the tank, and I've taken out its original potting mixture, and I found 10 separate vines, completely separate at the root, didn't have to break anything, it just came apart. So I'm going to see how many fit into the tank, and if there's some left over I'm going to repot them, and maybe they'll come in for Isla's tank. We've encountered the first problem. So this looks cool and all, but because the bark is pointing downwards, this is all pointing downwards. Now originally I chose it to go pointing downwards because it would be a shade, because the hide was going to go in there. So yeah. I might put the pilea in there. It'd be cool if that all grows out like a bush around it, but I don't think it's going to work with the bromeliads, because you have to water them in the crown, and if they can't get that water in the crown, they're not going to grow. And this guy does not look very happy. This is how it looked with the pilea in it, and to be honest I actually think it looks a bit better, because the moss isn't the same colour as the leaves, it's a different texture. I think it could work. So what I'm going to do now is fill up to here with Arcadia Earth mix, that's for the pilea, and then we're going to add bark and moss just at the top for the orchid. So hopefully when that water drains down from the orchid, the pilea benefits from that. Here's how it looks planted. So the pilea is in here. That actually took a while to get it to actually stay in place. Then I added about 3 vines of the vanilla orchid down here, a little bit down here, and a long bit that stretches all along there. I may add another vine just to go down here, like a short vine, but yeah, I'm going to plant the snake plant next. Since the last update, a lot of things have changed. So the Anthurium was meant to go here. I planted it in there. It didn't look very good. It was all squished up, so I decided to put the Bromeliad in there. There's also a pup next to it from Isla's tank. It hasn't been doing well outside the tank, so I thought I'd try it in here. I've repotted the Anthurium in a cocoa pot thing, and same with the other Bromeliad, I put it in a cocoa pot thing. These all get covered up by dirt. But it's getting late now, and you shouldn't do anything like this when you're just exhausted, so I'm going to stop for tonight and carry on tomorrow. So today's been a nice day. I went to the garden shop to find another plant for this terrarium, and I actually found a pothos, one plant that I really wanted. I know that they do really well with crested geckos, and a lot of people say that they're actually found in New Caledonia as well, so that's pretty good. The other thing I did was put up the coconut hide. Now I've made a tutorial on how to make coconut hides like this. This is a brand new one. I just wanted one hole in it so it can at least be slightly dark around the corner and my gecko could hide in it. So one of the questions I get on the tutorial all the time is how do you attach it to the roof? So first of all, you're going to want something that you can make holes with. I use these corner on the cob things. The wire mesh on top is actually really soft, so you can pretty much poke anything through there just to squish the wire and make 2 holes. Then I personally use these plastic ties. You get them in packaging all the time. You can use a few other things like rope, you know the thing like rope string stuff that you would use in the garden that's pretty strong, you can use that. Yeah, I'm not really sure, anything that will hold a gecko's weight will be good. I'm using these little ties, and I basically put one through 2 holes at the top of the coconut and twist them when they go through the wire mesh. Hopefully that makes sense, and it's actually pretty secure. As you may have just seen, I have attached moss to different pieces of wood in the tank. This is carpet moss, these 2 are sphagnum moss. I was using fishing wire, also sometimes known as beading wire. The one I used, I was really surprised how thin it was. It's actually like floss for your teeth. You can just about see it in the light there, and when you add it to the moss you really can't see it. It actually just looks like the moss is growing on there. Now the reason I secured it on there is because you can just mount it there, but if your crested gecko is going to be walking over it, you don't want it to slip. Also the vanilla orchid will be climbing along this one, so I want everything to be secure. Next I'm going to probably add more dirt and more plants in here. It's coming all together now. This is a long video. Do you know, someone said to me the other day, please can you do your videos longer? And I'm always worried because I feel like I ramble, so I try to edit them down really short. But if you prefer this, let's have a little natter. So I'm going to, add some more plants. So after about a week of work, which to be fair was at a slow pace, I wasn't rushing, the tank has gone from this to this. I've got to say, I am kind of proud of myself. This is the second tank I've ever done for a live tank, and it's the first time I've ever done that background thing. So if I can do it, you can certainly do it. As I've said before, natural tanks, I just feel like it brings your animal alive. They can sense everything is natural and they just tend to thrive in it. I will introduce my gecko to it if you want to see. I won't leave her in here tonight though, because I think the plants have been under a lot of stress being moved. Stress can actually kill plants, believe it or not, when you're trying to transport them from one pot to another. So I'm going to let them settle in today. And maybe tomorrow, and then permanently move her in, but for now we're just going to see her reaction to moving in. So here she is, she's all fired up. Let's put her in. Just a little face at the bottom of the screen. She's like, what is this? You can go on there. Oh, on the bromelia, typical Crested Gecko, do not break it. Here you go up the branch. So things I didn't use, I did not use the African violet, I did not use the orchid or the dragon tree. However, I've given the dragon tree to my mum. She can have the African violet as well. And I may use the orchid in Isla's tank because I've actually really enjoyed this build. I've been able to be like relaxed and not rush anything, and to be fair, it's relatively easy to do. So yeah, I might do up Isla's tank as well. So I've left over a few materials and little decorations that she can use as well, like the mushrooms. I've got 2 more of those left, another almond pod. I also got the coconut bowl that I really want to use. Obviously everything was sort of taken up in this tank, but yeah, so Isla's tank will be next. I don't know when that will be though. I think she's just taken in, like, I know you probably think this is a picture, but it's not. She's just yeah, taking in the environment. Oh, on the coconut hide, do you know what? This is the thing. Crested geckos absolutely love these hides. Just up there. Oh, by the way, before I go, I know this has been a long video, but if you're wondering where all the fog came from, it came from this machine. You can see it there. I have not bought a second one for her. This is Isla's. I just bought it over for the effect. I think it looks quite cool. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's inspired you to go out and create your own. I'm not adding a cleanup crew yet. I am kind of waiting on woodlights. I really want them to be the cleanup crew in here. And I've heard you have to wait at least a week before introducing them into the environment. So that might be the next video if you guys are interested. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye. Dun, 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 dun.